industry for about 10 years now, and my favorite game of all time is Bayonetta. Yes.
Facts. All right.
We just became best friends.
We
by the
did.
Way. Yes.
We bonded over games. Yes. My name is Desiree Rincón. As of yesterday, we made our big announcement. I am the Chief Creative Officer of our new startup indie studio, Digital Hazard. And my background is I'm former Xbox, and I'm an Army veteran, and I'm a lifelong gamer. The gaming has gotten me through a lot in my life, and I owe a lot to it, and I look forward to making amazing things happen within the gaming industry and bringing amazing experiences to people. And this here is my service dog. This is Sydney. Sydney and I have been paired now for 2.5 years, and she's 4.5 years old, and she enjoys long walks at the park and bacon. Yeah.
We might be best friends already because I also enjoy long walks at the park and bacon.
And bacon.
So we might already be best friends.
So we're having a friendship off from the different couches.
Yeah.
It's true. Are we? You know what though? This is an unfair advantage because Sydney is just so amazing.
That's fair. Yeah, I can't compete.
Well, hi, Sydney.
She is cute.
So
you know she's cute.
We still have another guest to join us, and that is Angelica, who should be here momentarily. And in fact, we have the one and only Angelica here as we speak. Welcome, Angelica. We are going to make room on the couch right here, and I'm going to step off camera, actually.
All right, you're good.
You sure? Do you need me to move?
Welcome.
Sorry, my lip got lost.
Oh, no worries. You're great.
Totally acceptable. This is for you.
Thank you.
And I'm going to step off camera, just like this right here.
Very awesome.
Do you want to grab a post?
I get to be the narrator. No, this is great. I never get to be the Wizard of Oz.
Oh, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Everyone stare at the amazing dog in the sash.
There's a beauty queen and a dog wearing sunglasses in the shot.
Now we really can't compete.
That puts everything.
We got nothing.
So, all right, without further ado, we are here. Thank you so much to everyone for being here. Thank you so much to the team at Exola, who are creating equal access for everyone in games. Thank you so much to our friends at GameSpeed, of course, who Rachel is with, Gina Joseph, for making this possible. And let's just jump into this. Today we're talking about women in games, how we can create more access and more equity. And today I would just love to hear your stories and to openly talk about how we can make this industry better for people who identify as female and how we can create more access and equity. So without further ado, I'm just going to stop talking now and say, what are your stories? We actually already had a chance to meet Desiree and Rachel. Angelica, would you like to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, so everyone's probably wondering, why is there a pageant girl here at GDC? I'll give you a quick update about everything. So my name is Angelica Chapman-Sykes. I'm from Beloit, Wisconsin. And I competed for Miss Wisconsin. You have to win a local. And last year was my first year ever doing pageants. I did 4 pageants in 3 months, and I did it in honor of my cousin. He was super into pageants, and before he passed away, we had a conversation about me doing pageants. So I did it to fulfill his legacy, and it's just been a life-changing event for me. So every single contestant has to have a community service project. Mine is called Game Changers, Diversifying STEAM through Video Game Development, because the best way to make the next generation of gamers more diverse is starting them off while they're young, letting them know about these opportunities. I didn't know about gaming as a career path really until I went off to college when I studied abroad in Tokyo. And I just loved the gaming environment there, and I wanted to come back here and do something like that too. So I'm done being Miss Beloit on Saturday, but Sunday I'm doing another pageant.
Oh, really?
Yes. And when I win that pageant, I will compete for Miss Wisconsin again. And this is all part of the Miss America opportunity. So the winner of Miss Wisconsin goes off to Miss America.
So what's your platform?
Oh, it's the Game Changers.
It is absolutely Game Changers.
Yes, yeah.
It's going to remain that way for all of your. That's very cool.
And I turned Game Changers into a nonprofit too. And
that's cool.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Right. Yeah, because at my old job, I was the first only Black woman there. all of these companies talk about diversity and inclusion and how they want to, incorporate all this stuff, but they actually don't do the work. It's just talk, talk, talk. And I said, what is something I can do to actually get this together? So I've done presentations at schools, even did these gaming workshops where the kids got a behind-the-scenes look of how to make a game, workshops. There was even breakout session, career panels in a video game tournament too.
Get it started young. That's how you change the culture, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
To be fully transparent, like, change isn't gonna happen until we start really looking. Sydney, that's not right now. Don't mess up her makeup.
Look, it's a queen. Look.
I love dogs. I miss my dog.
I'm so sorry. We're derailing the entire interview.
I don't think anyone's ever going to be sad about what happened just then.
This is a dream
No,
come true. Hello,
that's the
Sid.
best.
No, I'm okay with it leaving all up on
No,
me.
but that leads into a really good. That leads into a really good segue to some extent. When we're talking about changing the culture, I feel like the individuals who have like the loudest voices right now, not only don't do enough to try to change the viewpoints and the mentality of people, but oftentimes they do the opposite. I'm reminded, for instance, November last year, PC Gamer put out an article where they celebrated 30 years of games, and I read that article, and not a single woman was mentioned in that article. Not one. And I was like, that is very disappointing, not to mention embarrassing for PC Gamer.
Yeah, that required work in order to put together a whole list without women, because we've been part of the industry from the beginning. It's not like it's not like we just suddenly appeared like at the turn of the millennium and said like, hey, we'd like to get into games. No, we've been part of it from the very beginning.
One of my first influences was King's Quest series, and that was written by Roberta Williams. That was like at the top of my head. I can name you like 10 women off the top of my head, and not a single one of them was mentioned in this article. And I was like, yep, that poses a problem. There's a toxic underbelly to the gaming industry, and it fuels the fire for things like what's going on right now with, for instance, Gamergate, where it's a legitimate issue, and it drives women away from the industry, and it pushes us out, and because we don't want to deal with that toxicity. I don't want to be in a conversation where the main topic of conversation is, hey, what voice mod do you use to play COD or Rust? Because you have, because the minute that the other players realize that there's a woman in
there's a girl.
Yeah, oh my God, there's a girl. And that's when like all the abusive, all the abusive insults start coming out. And Make Me a Sandwich is probably like the least of like, I can deal with that.
I don't want to go into like the really bad ones.
Let's not. But those things can be addressed, and I think that's a lot of a multifaceted event to some extent.
And it is tiring sometimes having to be like the voice for women because you just happen to be the only woman in the room. Or the only woman of color in the room. So you have to be the voice of, the people of color as well. It's like, why don't we have more people here to represent this very significant demographic? And so, it sometimes gets very exhausting just having to be the representation.
And it's a balancing act on top of that, because I feel like when women speak up, we're loud and obnoxious, and we are unwanted. I know you feel that. You felt that in your soul.
Yes.
But when we let men talk, then it's a male savior complex. They're coming in to try to save us.
They're white knighting.
Yeah, they're white knighting. So it's a balancing act. It's really tough waters to navigate.
And the thing I don't get about a lot of these companies is the fact that when you have a more diverse team with all these great ideas, it's going to make your game better. And it's going to have it to a brighter audience, like a broader audience. And on top of that, they're going to make more money.
Exactly.
And what you just said there, at my, being in the industry, I've been in the industry for about 2.5 years. I recently quit my job a month ago, started doing all this stuff full time, and turned my stuff into a nonprofit. But I had moments where I felt that I couldn't speak up because my opinion was not respected. My opinion was not going to be heard. And I wish that some of my male counterparts would have spoken up for me a little bit, and like, oh, let Angelica speak, let Angelica, express her opinion or something too.
Yeah, it's true. Absolutely.
So, I mean, oh my gosh,
It's a lot.
I'm sorry, we unpacked a lot.
No, but that's why we're here to unpack. We're here to get real, and amazingly to do so in 30 minutes. Oh my gosh. I just want to acknowledge that this is a topic that deserves and should be given so much more time than it's given. In only the 30 minutes that we have, we're so incredibly lucky to have this time, and it feels like we could be here for the entire day. This whole conference could be about
We could
this
make
topic.
a 6-part miniseries just on that. Oh, easily.
Right? With
season 1, yeah,
exactly.
Season 1, then season 2, season 3, yeah.
So we should start a podcast. That would be great.
That'd be great. We'll talk offline.
Hey, Sydney says she's available, so.
She's. Can you tell GDC's been getting to her?
Oh, she says the stardom, it weighs so heavily.
Being so beautiful, that must be exhausting.
It's exhausting being this cute. No.
Here's a question for everybody.
Shoot.
Looking forward, right? So we're already seeing questions coming through, not only Angelica acknowledging and really highlighting the amazing work that you're doing as an advocate for gaming in Wisconsin and beyond. So thank you for elevating a part of the country and world that is maybe not as thought of when it comes to games. That's absolutely
yes.
Thank you.
By the way, hanging.
Megan Kelly says yes. Tune in next week for episode 2. Megan, we're going to try to keep that promise. We're going to try to keep our promise. Let's talk about the future, though. Looking forward, because there's people in the audience right now, and hopefully watching later, that I hope tune in here to say, how can I do better? Right? What are some practical tips that you would say to somebody who wants to do better for women in games to create more access and equity?
Ooh, this is a loaded question, because I can see it from a lot of different points of view. Like, if you're a company, do what Angelica does. Start programs that or give awareness to programs that empower women, that provide scholarships and grants to women, to young girls who are looking to get into into the field and to get into our industry. I would say there is no shortage of women out there that are incredibly knowledgeable of the industry that would serve as mentors. So mentorship programs, and they're out there. Mentorship programs are out there. Yesterday I had a brunch with women in gaming, and the imposter syndrome that I experienced at that, the first thing we did was do an introduction, introduce yourselves. And as I listened to each and every one of those women, I was like, yeah, I could never. I am clearly the odd one out of this room. I don't feel like I belong here. They made me feel very welcome and I feel very supported and very loved. So shout out to Women in Gaming, by the way. But yes, I've actually felt a lot of my imposter syndrome at GDC. I actually created an entity. His name is Carl. That's my imposter syndrome. But no, there's a lot of incredibly talented, powerful women that don't realize that they are, and it's because our society oftentimes kind of plays that down. And we are kind of raised to have these preconceived notions of where we stand in society.
Girls don't do games.
Yeah. Like women in games, everything from a girl could never possibly beat me to women could never be in leadership positions in this role because they're not true gamers. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that one. But
even saying more about that, having, like you said, having these companies reach out to these nonprofit organizations, schools that are doing the work to get kids into STEM. And also, I just think for more developers to volunteer and be mentors. If you're out there and you're like, hey, I have a little bit of spare time, contact these organizations in your area and say, I would love to offer my services to be a mentor. Connect these organizations with video game companies out there so they can sponsor them too. And just keep encouraging everyone. That's another thing I have to say is there are so many people who have limiting beliefs that feel like they've never seen someone who looks like them do something, or it may not be at the forefront and they don't believe that they can do it, but you can. And just having that encouragement, just tell like a young girl out there, like, you can do this. You can do this. There's more people out there who look like you. Here they are.
Yeah.
And we can make this happen.
Yep. And I think elevating the voices like hers, for instance, she works for, like she works in media, like having the media participate actively in the promotion and the praising of women in the industry and celebrating them and their achievements and highlighting women-owned companies or places where women are truly like valued for their talent is very important.
And I think on like two different tips, like on a more like practical, like a small scale, I think it is very important that everybody within a company, especially if you work with multiple women, it's very important that we learn that men, for example, learn to restrain themselves a little bit. There is, I mean, in the worst ways, absolutely, but even in the sense of, a lot of times that's one of the most mansplaining, especially, but one of the most insidious forms of, I guess, sort of like makes me feel a little bit small is when, I'll be in the middle of something and a man will jump in and finish my sentence for me. It's like, I'm glad you were listening and following along, but you don't need to speak for me. So it really is just a case of learning to restrain yourself and listen. And sometimes men and sometimes male employees and men and male presenting people, they don't always know to do that inherently. But that's okay, because it's a skill that can be taught. Everybody has to learn it at some point. These are skills that can be taught. And on a large scale, I would say I love the idea of getting more women in STEM and having more women as developers. But I think another thing we have to keep in mind is that developers are not all there is to the games industry. Mm-hmm. And I think that sometimes we kind of like hone in on the development team, but I think that also restricts women, because there are a lot of women out there who aren't in STEM who say, well, I don't have a place in the games industry. But no, the games industry, they need HR people, they need project managers, they need accountants, they need lawyers. So you can be part of it. We need to show them like the breadth of what's available in the games industry, so that even, because I mean, we already have a problem with getting women into STEM. So until we solve for that, I think we need to show even the women who are not in that field that, there's still a place for you here. There's still, you're still wanted here. You're still needed here.
So when I go to schools, I have a whole entire graphic of all the different areas in the gaming industry. Like, I tell people, look, we need people who are actors, like you said, like HR, lawyers, publishers, graphic designers. The list just goes on and on and
There is a place for you with us. There is a place for you in gaming.
You're wanted and you're needed.
That's
very much so. That's what I want to be the big takeaway from this.
Yes.
Please come.
Yes, come to the dark side.
Join us.
We have cookies. We have cute puppies.
We do.
We literally have them on screen.
We literally have cute puppies who is very tired.
Oh, she's so out of it.
She's so tired. Sydney, can you look alive?
She's like, I got Angelica. I'm happy.
So, first, thank you for, Rachel, you brought up a really incredible point right there that I know I have to constantly remind myself of. Let me join you in this transparency and vulnerability, I hope, because the tendency to jump in, right, can sometimes be excitement rooted, or it can be a socialized way of sort of asserting oneself into a conversation in a way that often is inappropriate and can preclude people from being part of the conversation, which in a conversation today that's about inclusion and creating access, what an amazing place to start, creating access to the conversation, to the room where it happens, right? I think that's at least from my own perspective, something that's so hard to remember sometimes. So thank you for bringing it up, because it's something I think we could all be reminded of much more closely.
I think that, that's what I said earlier. I feel like it's a balancing act, because you have to be able to restrain yourself from doing what she described. But at the same time, you need to also step up and actually like speak up for, for women, and like Angelica was saying. So you have to just know when, and as she mentioned, it is a trainable thing. It is things that you can learn. You can be taught. So, but I also think that it's a new thing to navigate because traditionally, men. I can imagine that men who are faced with like this new mentality can feel like almost like they have to go on the defensive because now we are kind of intruding in their space, or we're becoming more independent and such, and it's just not the way it used to be. So I see a lot of men kind of starting to go on the defensive in that regard, but yeah, I think that with a little bit of understanding and patience and learning, we can achieve it, and it starts young. So that's why I really think that programs like the ones she champions are big. They're going to be the world changers.
Yeah. I really agree with that too. Just having, like you said, like the balancing and knowing when it is appropriate to speak up and let someone be able to have their voice be heard and everything. And even going back to working with the kids, oh my gosh, it's so much fun being with them. And
kids are precious.
Yeah, like I work with kids from all different backgrounds, and they always told me that they're so happy that I'm here because they did not know about this world. I'll just give you one quick thing is my sister, hi Danielle, well, Samaria, I call her by her middle name, but her and her friend came here and they've never seen this world of games. They did not know that the video game industry is this big. And just letting the younger generation know that, because yes, they play games, but they don't know that games makes more money than television and movies and music all together.
And they directly influence music and movies and television. Look at all of the IPs that have been converted to like series, and look at Last of Us. I mean, that just most recently.
So 2 quick things. We may have a lighting change in a moment. So just so we don't have anybody get shocked, we are in mid-transition of the stage here. So that might happen. But let's talk a little bit about, so 2 things. One, on screen, everybody can see a QR code in the top, what should be left of your screen. There's a QR code you can scan that will take you to womeningames.org, which is one of the resources we're talking about here. Let's talk about resources that we know about that we can point people towards that can hopefully be like a zip file of access that everybody can find after this. Recruiting, getting into this industry. Do we have any suggested resources in addition to womeningames.org that people might be able to follow to go and find ways into this industry for women?
Man, that's a loaded question. I don't know that I personally don't know that I have any off the top of my head, and I feel terrible about it because maybe I went through
Games International.
Wiggy.
There are a lot of advocacy groups in particular. Sometimes literally you can just search like women in gaming, and that'll just be the first thing that pops up. There are a lot of organizations for.
And there went.
I can't see. I'm blind.
Actually, wouldn't it be the opposite?
I don't know. The light went out. It's all gone dark. No. Anyways, so,
I would say a lot of things I did. I joined groups that fit more with my identity. So out there's Black in Gaming.
I was gonna say Black in Gaming.
Gamer,
Black girls,
Latinos in gaming. Queer T games is for queer people in gaming.
Find your tribe.
Yeah.
And love them hard. But yes.
And they have Discord groups that have like job boards on there, mentorship. A lot of the groups, they even have time for people to have their resume and portfolio looked over too.
Yeah.
I even joined a producer gaming group too, and it's on Discord, and they have these really cool times where people can just say like, hey, this is my resume, can you look at it, let me know of any type of certifications I should get, and look at like my cover letters and stuff like that too. So just find your tribe, find people who align with you, because we're out here.
We exist and we're not going away.
And I would also say that it's not just the people who want to enter games; it's the people who are already in games. The hiring people with the HR people within games. They can definitely. I think it's also incumbent upon them to reach out to those same groups and say, and try to make sure that they have that they are hiring from a diverse pool of candidates.
Yeah.
Because we want to be able to. I think the goal is to match up the jobs with the diverse group of candidates as well.
And another thing is get on LinkedIn. Like, even if I know we're watching on LinkedIn, but just add people and message people, because that's how I've made so many connections.
Networking is huge.
Through LinkedIn. I found John on Instagram, so we can look at hashtags. All right.
Nice.
From a LinkedIn recruiter perspective, I will say that is such an incredibly powerful thing. People don't know about you, and they don't know that they want to help you until they know about you. And your story is so powerful, right? And in addition to Women in Games up there, coming back to, we were just talking about maybe even volunteering and finding fungible skills. I want to highlight, of course, on screen, here's Games for Love. Right there is a QR code you can scan. That's to volunteer with Games for Love.
Where on the screen is it?
That would be on the down, warmer, other side.
The other side?
There it is.
It's
yes,
right there.
yes.
Right there.
Everywhere that everyone just pointed.
Yep.
Second piece is, of course, Games for Love. We are a nonprofit. Every dollar that's donated to us goes to helping kids in hospitals around the world, replacing pain with play in one of the scariest times that a kid can face. So if anyone feels called to donate, we are so incredibly, incredibly grateful for any generosity that you might have. We are just wrapping up here today. We're about to do a final picture, of course, before Sydney falls asleep.
Get up.
Oh, baby.
Which is important.
Get up.
Anyone have last words you'd like to share as we close down?
I have a shameless plug. So I ordered like 10,000 of these, and I do not want to take them back to Wisconsin. So if you're walking around, come get an autograph card for me. I will sign it. Please follow me on Instagram at Angelica Beloit. I'm getting more of my influencer stuff right now too. And if you have any questions about getting involved with Game Changers, please hit me up on LinkedIn or hit me up on Instagram at Angelica Beloit.
Woo! Awesome. As for me, come find me and my team. We're all wearing orange sunglasses, and you really can't miss me. I have dog. I mean, you really can't miss dog. I mean, yeah, feel free to say hello, and if you have any questions or any comments, or you just want to say hi to dog, feel free to say hi to dog.
Yeah, and if you see me walking around, unfortunately, I have shed my horns, so you might not be able to pick me out as easily in a crowd. But if you do see me, come talk to me about anything. Talk to me about games. Talk to me about D&D. We've already gotten started on that. But
we're
if you want
besties
to,
now.
yes, we are best friends now. But if you want to start with, if you want to read my stuff, you can go to venturebeat.com/games. Or I also do a live, not live, but I also do a news broadcast on TikTok. So just search my name on any social media platform, and you can probably find me.
Awesome. We'll drop all those resources into chat to follow to make it really easy for everybody to click and follow. Yep. We're going to do a quick, I'm going to dip back into the camera.
Another shameless plug. Follow my new company,
photo.
Digital Hazard. Yes. My business partners and I would absolutely love. Sydney, come here. Come on up. Get up.
You want to come up?
There you go, baby.
Come on up.
There you go.
Oh, she's going to.
Thank everybody for joining us today. There it was. Thank you so much, everybody.
Bye.
See you in the next one. Happy GDC.
Woo!